Hey Rebecca, how you doing? Yeah, this project's a blast, isn't it? I'm so glad you enjoyed it. It's such a great project because it's an exercise in creativity along with a style development. So we give you this kind of basic technique, and students inevitably start to develop their own style, and we see that in your work definitely, for sure. So that's just great. Now that said, I think that your stamps still need a little work. So let's go through them, and let me give you my comments, and I think my comments will make very good sense to you. So the first thing I see when I look at the group as a series like this, I see that the stamp itself seems to be, it's not the same shape. I don't think you're using the template that was supplied for two reasons. Number one, this isn't the same shape as the template file, and number two is that this second illustration right here is exceeding the boundaries of that clipping mask. So, and we can see that in a couple of other areas too, specifically towards the bottom of the stamp, near the bottom perforations. So that is something I think that definitely needs to be addressed. So we take a look at the stamp here. We can see, and I'll just move this over so we can see it next to the shape of your stamp. Let's see how I can do this. Let's move that over. Let's take this guy. We'll move it over. Okay, see what I'm saying? So that's more square, whereas this is definitely more rectangular. So there's that clipping mask. I'm going to watch my cursor and watch this green line appear when I hover over. That's the outside. That's the basic perforation of the stamp. And then right there is the clipping mask. So that's where that clipping mask falls, and we can see that a lot of these clearly are not employing that clipping mask, nor do not appear to be employing this template. So I highly recommend using the template. Okay, the next thing I think that is really important to mention is the backgrounds are not consistent color. This we can see is a much darker. It's got a darker value of this, the same hue. This pink is a little bit lighter in value, so that you definitely want to address that. Now, as far as the illustrations go themselves, I think the typography, first of all, I think the typography is good. Definitely will suffice, absolutely. So that's great. Neat little trick sometimes is to add the signature. You can find their signature, which is easy to find, and add that right down there in white, like we saw in the Will Smith example. Right down there. It just kind of really adds a nice finishing touch. So take a look at that. And also, while I'm on this page, I just want to jump up here. This video right here, a tutorial how to use the PoseShip template file. You definitely want to take a look at that, because here's the file itself. There's the template file, and here's the instructions on how to use it. So let's go ahead and talk about your illustrations. I think first and foremost is that you are using blends in this assignment. Now remember, this is a flat avatar, so these need to be flat techniques. No blends, no gradients. There's a blend right there. Here's a blend right here in the neck. We also see a blend right here in the shirt. Then down here we see multiple blends here in the neck and the hair. And then over here we see multiple blends in the neck and in the microphone. So we do not want to use blends in this assignment. It's pretty important that you don't. Ergo, the flat in flat avatar, right? I think the hair, if you develop brushes in the hair, I think that you can really do a great job developing the hair. I think right now the hair in all instances is underdeveloped. You've got the basic shapes down pretty well, but we just don't have any highlights. And that is going to drive this home. The highlights in the hair add a tremendous amount of volume to these avatars, so keep that in mind. The other thing I want to mention is just the development of the facial characteristics. And I'm going to use Ellen here for my example. So let's zoom into Ellen. Now what you've done here is you've actually drawn. You've used the pen tool, presumably, to actually try to draw the nose in there. And you don't really want to do that. I can also see us zooming in here. We don't have organic, smooth, curved lines for the eyes. Those look like they've been a pen tool, lay a point, then just lay another point and lay another point, as opposed to clicking and dragging. I don't know if you remember that technique. That was covered way back in the pen tutorials in the class. I think it was early. I think it was like week 3 or something. But go back and take a look at that. We can definitely see some some areas where the pen tool needs to be smoothed out. We can see that in all of the illustrations. You can definitely see it right here. Right here. That needs to really be, well, actually, I'm going to recommend that you don't use that technique, but that would need to definitely be smoothed out. The technique I think that you should use, and we talked about the eyelashes too, they're kind of going in different directions. So you want to go ahead and take a look at that, Marilyn. There's a little tutorial up here on the eyelashes, and that's really going to create some effective eyelashes that you can use actually in all of your avatars, which I can see we've got some here. We don't have, Ellen doesn't have any eyelashes, which she should. And I think that'll add some needed contrast to that area. But anyways, what I'm talking about in the facial area right here, to depict these characteristics, go ahead and take a look at the tutorials. And you can see that they're using contour lines. A lot of these techniques involve just these simple contour lines to define not the lines that make up a nose. You know, lines in face don't exist. A line in nature doesn't exist. A line is the depiction of two surfaces meeting and overlapping. So it's also the depiction of a shadow or a difference in the elevation of a specific element in an illustration. So this would indicate right here just a little contour line. Now that's a variable stroke, a variable weight stroke on that line right there. And it's a contour line. So that's all that's needed to create that line, that nose. It's just a good little nostril lines, little lines of contour lines, little contour lines here, instead of trying to draw the whole thing out. So I definitely think that would be an improvement there. It seems like some of the, okay, yeah, then so same thing here with developing the lines, a little more contour in the face, a little more depiction of the tonal variations in the face. And again, we see that. And if you just take a look at these techniques, you can definitely see how these things were done. It's a great example right here of how to develop a nose, just using those variable variable weight strokes, lines, variable weight stroke lines, I should say. So yeah, that I would revisit. Okay, so yeah, I mean, I think you're coming along beautifully. I really do. I think that we really need to fine tune these. I'll be honest with you, I don't think they're where they need to be just yet. They're getting there. Got a good, solid foundation to work with, but definitely address those comments that I mentioned in this video, and we'll get this, hopefully get this where it needs to be by the end of the week. If you have any questions at all, please feel free to let me know. I'll be glad to clarify. But all right, so great start, and I'm looking forward to seeing more. Oh, by the way, the typography is good. I think this is really a smart idea, is using sans serif and then using the oblique or the italic version here for forever. One thing I would recommend in your type is to open up that kerning. That's the space between letters, because right now these letters are really super close together. They're almost running into each other, and that's a little problematic. All right, so all right, like I said, great start. Any questions at all, please let me know. Thank you.